So, welcome back to today's Bhakti Vriksha program. So today what we are going to do is, sorry for the late, we will directly jump into the Bhagavad Gita class today. And then we will take forward. So what we discussed last time, anybody remembers? Which shloka, which verse, etc.?
I mean, last class we did not do Bhagavad Gita stuff. I just probably.
Oh, we didn't do Bhagavad Gita last time. Okay. So.
Third chapter lo first sloka ayinattu Prabhuji, second sloka nunchi start cheyalanuntunnaru.
Yeah, second sloka.
Ye shloka anna?
Third chapter second sloka Prabhuji.
Oh, third chapter second shloka. Okay. Okay. Am I sharing my screen? Not yet, right? Okay. Okay. So today we will discuss Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, second verse.
Prabhuji okkasari meaning ki తీసుకెళ్ళరా Prabhuji. అంటే ఇది కూడా అయిపోయిందేమో అన్న డౌట్.
Okay, you want me to take next one?
Yeah, I think ఇది కూడా అయిపోయింది Prabhuji. Third శ్లోకాకి వెళ్ళాలి Prabhuji. అంటే అర్జునుడు అడుగుతున్నారు, నా మోహానికి ఆల్రెడీ నేను ఆల్రెడీ మోహంలో ఉన్నాను, దానికి నా బుద్ధి మోహం చెందింది అని అడుగుతున్నారు Prabhuji. సో నెక్స్ట్ శ్లోక అది కూడా.
Okay.
Third.
I'm trying to recollect here. So are you all sure that we have to do 3.3 or 3.2?
3.2
అయిపోయింది. 3.2 only అనుకుంటా Prabhuji.
Okay, let's do 3.2 as well and then 3.3. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay, I don't remember me touching 3.2. Okay. Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyo hamapnuyam Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyo hamapnuyam Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyo hamapnuyam. Okay. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: my intelligence is blurred by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Okay. So, Chetan Prabhu, would you like to read the purport?
In the previous chapter, as a prelude to Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and the position of neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness, either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his questions, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, what are the points? Any thoughts?
It is setting up the context by summarizing what all the things which we have learned till now, and then the deep dive knowledge of clearing of the apprehensions of Arjuna when he was thinking of to fight with these kings and all those things. So talking about the being and body and soul, and then now it is like the Krishna consciousness, the actual meaning of Krishna consciousness is being delivered by Krishna to Arjuna is what I understood.
So what is here equivocal instructions? What does this mean? Balakrishna Prabhu, any thoughts? What exactly he means? Any thoughts? Don't worry if an answer is right or wrong. Okay. Feel free.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. And equivocal instructions, in previous chapters, Krishna told that different things, correct Prabhuji? In the purport, they mentioned that Sankhya Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all these different తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే అనేక అర్థములు కలిగినవి చెప్పారు ప్రభుజీ. అంటే దీనికి అది అనేది డీటెయిల్ గా చెప్పమని అడుగుతున్నారు.
Okay, so what you are saying is he elaborated on different type of yoga systems. Okay.
Yeah. For what I think from Arjuna's context is he feels like all are equal, kind of at Arjuna's level, it feels like he is understanding whatever Krishna instructed as an equal statements. Like he couldn't make a decisive decision is what I understand. Equivocal means.
Okay.
Can I try again?
Yes, Mataji, Rishita Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. ఇక్కడ మనకి భగవద్గీత స్టార్ట్ అవ్వడమే శోకంతో స్టార్ట్ అయింది కదా ప్రభుజీ. అంటే డైరెక్ట్ అర్జునుడు కన్ఫ్యూజన్ లో పడిపోయాడు కదా అక్కడ రిలేషన్షిప్స్ ని, గురు స్థానాన్ని చూసి. సో ఇక్కడ ఇవన్నీ అతన్ని కన్ఫ్యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాయి అని చూపిస్తుంది ప్రభుజీ. ఈక్వివోకల్ అనేది కంప్లీట్ కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఇన్ అర్జునాస్ బ్రెయిన్ అనేది. సో ఎన్ని చెప్పినా కూడా దే ఆర్ నాట్ ఇన్ ప్రాపర్ systematic way. So here Krishna is trying to put all the yoga systems and everything in the systematic way from here, from third chapter, like giving answer to the Arjuna, like ఏది ముందు ఏది తర్వాత భక్తి బుద్ధి యోగా ఇవన్నిటిని ఒక సిస్టమాటిక్ వేలో పెట్టడానికి ట్రై చేస్తున్నారు ప్రభుజీ ఇక్కడ నుంచి.
Okay, who else want to say what is this equivocal instruction means? We discussed some time ago, right?
కృష్ణుడు ఇచ్చిన ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ అర్థం చేసుకోలేకపోతున్నాడు అని అనుకోవచ్చా ప్రభుజీ? అంటే చేసేది నువ్వే కానీ చేయించేది నేను అని చెప్తారు కదా. అంటే ఇక్కడ నువ్వు చేస్తున్నా అంటావేంటి, చనిపోతారంటావేంటి, అసలు అది నీకు సంబంధమే లేనిది అని చెప్తారు కదా. అది అక్కడ అర్జునుడికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్ అవుతుంది ప్రభుజీ. చనిపోతాడు అంటున్నారు, మళ్ళీ ఉంటారు అంటున్నారు, ఆత్మ ఈజ్ ఆల్వేస్ దేర్ అని చెప్తారు కదా. బాడీకి మాత్రమే మరణం అని. సో అది కన్ఫ్యూజన్ గా అనిపిస్తుంది. ఆ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ అనేవి అర్జునుడికి కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతున్నాడు అని అనుకోవచ్చు.
Okay, so let me take you all to the previous shloka. Probably you will understand the context better. Okay, Vani Mataji, would you like to read the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Arjuna said, "O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work."
What does that means? I know it's been 2 weeks gap, so we would have forgotten what has been already discussed. Okay, so now let's try to understand this statement here. O Janardana. Janardana means what? One who is the maintainer of all the living entities. When one should take birth, when one should get whatever he needs, how he should be maintained, and what is the time to die. All these things are decided by Lord Janardana. That is a maintainer. Okay. O Keshava. So he is the killer of a KC demon. Now, there is some doubt within the mind of Arjuna, which is bothering him too much. He is hearing on one side, but there is some doubt, some confusion, which is bothering, as you have all said correctly. Now, what is he saying? Why do you want me to engage me in this ghastly warfare? Okay, why do you want me to get up and fight? Why are you instructing me to do this thing? You know, I see my teacher, I see my grandfather, I see there are some other elders who are respectable, and we should respect them. We should not even speak harshly. But here you are asking me to kill them. Okay, and on top of it, in the previous chapter, you told us that intelligence is better than what? Fruitive work. Means working or renouncing. That's the problem here, right? Whether we should work or we should renounce. That's where the confusion is all about. You got the point? Equivocal words means what? You are telling two different things, two opposite things to do it equally. How is that can be done? Okay, either you ask me to do this or do this. Don't ask me to do both the things, which is confusing, right? That's where he's saying you are, at one hand, you are asking me to fight in this. Okay, and then on the other hand, you are saying, hey, intelligence is better than fruitive work. So using your intelligence, keep away all these abominable activities. Now, what are the abominable activities here? What are the activities here? Killing all these people is the abominable activity, right? Killing all these people, they are my people in one sense, right? So how are you encouraging me, oh my dear Lord? That's what the point here is, correct? So in the next verse, that is today's verse, which we were discussing, let me go back here. After saying this very point, then he is saying, my intelligence is bewildered, okay, by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be the most beneficial for me. And in our life also, sometimes we are confused. We get sometimes 2-3 opportunities at the same time. Sometimes, we get so many contradictory statements before us, and we don't know which one to avail, which one to follow. So that is where, Arjuna is also in the similar situation, correct? As we heard in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 49th verse, wherein he is saying to keep all abominable activities far distant. By doing what? By intelligence, by buddhi yoga. Are we all clear on this? What is the equivocal instructions here? Hare Krishna. Is everyone clear on this? So here is asking whether one should renounce the work or to work. That is the confusion actually for Arjuna. Chetan Prabhu, what is that? Balakrishna Prabhu, Harshita Mataji, you are all clear with this point?
Yes.
Okay. Then Arjuna's intelligence is bewildered, buddhi, right? Because it is disturbed. He is unable to figure out what is the intention of Lord Krishna. He is asking me to fight or he is asking me to give up. That's where the open question. Correct? And henceforth, these two verses, 1 and 2, talk about this confucius situation of Arjuna. He's actually putting. Okay, Arjuna is asking if it is better to be situated in knowledge or to work, as if two were opposed to each other. That's both are contradictory in his understanding. Actually, there cannot be contradiction at all, right? That's where, Srila Prabhupada is adding a point here that, it appears, what does it appears? That, this yoga system, whatever has been put over here, seems unsystematically. Unsystematically means he has summarized. The second chapter is all about summarization. He spoke about the Sankhya philosophy, the dimensions of the spirit soul. He spoke about the karma yoga. He spoke about buddhi yoga. He spoke about naishkarma karma. He spoke about what is the bhakti yoga, and he spoke about sthita prajna. So many things, right? Now it appears that too many things now here is confusing him. Correct? That is where a sincere student basically places a doubt before the teacher or a master, so that the best course of action can be taken out. He can decide what is good, right? Because he is not in a position to decide. Here it is. Please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Decisively, he's telling, right? So that is where this particular two verses, 3.1 and 3.2, okay, clearly states what was the confusion with Arjuna. And if we are clear, now the answers will be clear to us. I want to stop, pause here. I want to know whether everybody is clear what is creating a confusion for Arjuna's intelligence. Are we all clear now? Any questions? Please let me know. Then I'll go to the next verse. Hare Krishna.
Clear, Prabhuji.
Okay. How about everybody else? Clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. I see Anil Prabhu have joined, but in a different place. Appreciate that. They're outside, I guess.
Yes, Prabhu. Outside, waiting for a gate.
Waiting for the flight?
Yes, Prabhu. We are at gate.
Thank you, Prabhu, for joining. Now let's see the answer from Lord Krishna. Now that Arjuna asked those two questions, now we will see what is Krishna trying to answer. Okay, so actually Krishna begins answering Arjuna's question by pointing out the defects in his desire to renounce duty. Basically, he has some defective understanding. The thought process is wrong. That is what now Krishna is going to correct Arjuna where he is stuck up. Why is he thinking like that? Okay, so that's what we are going to understand. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Lokesmin Vividha Nishtha.
Lokesmin Vividha Nishtha.
Prokta Maya Nagha.
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha.
Jnana yogena sankhyānām
Jnana yogena sankhyanam
karma yogena yoginām.
karma yogena yoginam.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha
Lokesmin Vividha Nishtha
Lokesmin
Vidanishta.
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha
Pura
Prokta Maya Nagha
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha
Lokesmin Vividha Nishtha
Lokesmin Vidita Nishtha
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
So let's read the translation. You want to read the translation, Radhika? Okay, Radhika wants to read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of God has said, O
Sinless.
sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to
Realize.
realize the self. Some are
Inclined.
inclined to understand it by
Empirical.
philosophical
Speculation.
and others by devotional service.
Okay, good. Let's see here. Balakrishna Prabhu, you would like to read the purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the second chapter, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedures, namely Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, or Buddhi Yoga. This verse, the Lord explained the same more clearly. Sankhya Yoga are the analytical study of the nature of spirit and matter. Is the subject matter for person who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. The other class of men work in Krishna consciousness, as it is explained in 61st verse of the second chapter. The Lord has explained also in the 39th verse that by working by the principles of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bonds of action, and furthermore, there is no flaw in the process. The same principle is more clearly explained in the 61st verse, that this Buddhi Yoga is to depend entirely on the Supreme, or more specifically on Krishna. And in this way, all the senses can be brought under control very easily. Therefore, both the yogas are interdependent. As religion and philosophy. Religion without philosophy is a sentiment, or sometimes fantasism, while philosophy without religion is a mental speculation. The ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. This is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita. The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. The indirect process is philosophical speculation by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness. And the other process is directly connecting everything with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Of these two, the path Krishna conscious is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by philosophical process. Krishna conscious is itself by purifying process, and by the direct method of devotional service is simultaneously easy and sublime. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. This is a little long purport, and we will try to understand this. As we said, the confusion is clear to us, what he was confused to. And he's telling, oh, Anagha. Anagha means a sinless person, right? Oh, sinless Arjuna. I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. What are those two classes? One is Sankhya Yoga, and the other one is Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. Okay, these two are interchangeable, Bhakti Yoga and Buddhi Yoga. Okay, now Krishna has said, hey, you can understand the real self. Self means Atma, Atma Tattva Jnana. So this Atma Tattva Jnana can be understood in two different ways. Now, Krishna begins answering, okay, from this verse and until 9th verse, okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, and this particular section of verses describes the defect in the desire to renounce the prescribed duty. Bhagavad Gita definitely do not recommend one to renounce the prescribed duty. Oh, you are married, you have a lot of problem with your wife, your husband, something else or job. Just don't give up. You have to find a way, manage it, and still continue. It's not that today we see that people give up, divorce. That's not accepted as per the Vedic scripture. There is no word for divorce in Sanskrit actually. There is nothing like that. One is committed, one is locked, one is, that's it. He is supposed to sail over the given circumstances in such a way that he will become Krishna consciousness. That is the whole idea of getting married. Just an example, right? So what Krishna is telling is the active nature of the soul. Okay, he is going to explain actually there is something called three things: karma, vikarma. Everybody knows karma is good karma, vikarma is a bad karma. But there is one more thing, that is akarma, which is inactivity or activity in devotional service, which is akarma. So it is advised to perform our activities in such a way that they are directed towards Krishna, towards purification of the self, or you may call self-realization. That should be our activity. Now, externally, the activity could be the same, but the consciousness matters. With what mood one is performing matters, right? So, self-purification and self-realization are the purposes for one to follow or perform prescribed duties. So, when we perform prescribed duties, self-purification happens and then self-realization happens. Then one will come to the proper platform actually, right? So both karma and Sankhya are important, are valid, and action without knowledge is simply mundane, right? And knowledge without action is useless or powerless. What is the use of the knowledge? I become a doctor, but I never practice it. What is the use of that knowledge? He doesn't practice, he is not going to use. What is the use of becoming a lawyer and then he don't use it? Correct? But there are people who act without knowledge. right? Again, there is a problem with my car and I open the trunk and I open this and that. I'll try to fit something, but I don't know any knowledge of that. So it may take a couple of hours to fix a problem, or sometimes I may not even able to identify. So simply action also doesn't work, and simply knowledge also doesn't work. So there should be both things. So that's where here in the translation, Krishna is telling some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. So that means work. There is service means there is a work. So one has to understand what work Krishna is talking about, devotional work. And on the other hand, he's talking about philosophically speculating. Both the ways we can understand the Lord. But again, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives a nice, what is that called, comparison. Let's go to the, okay, let me open this way. That way, what is that? Second chapter, verse 39. Okay. If you remember, we spoke about which one last time, which we spoke? Second chapter, 49th verse we discussed, right? Let me open that so that it becomes easy. Sorry, 2.49. So what did we learn last time? Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvichya kripanaha falahetavaha. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So by quoting this or by thinking about this verse, Prabhupada is explaining us, that's where he started thinking, should I really fight now? Okay, or just give up fighting, He's trying to give up the duty. Sometimes in frustration, wife and husband or parents or in office, we try to give up. If somebody don't give us, if we don't get promotion, then I'll stop working wholeheartedly. That is again wrong. So one should continue. Okay, now here what is that? In the second chapter, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedures, namely Sankhya and Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. What is that? 2.39. Let's see what is 239 is talking about. Okay. Esha te abhita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. So what he said, tip of the hair, the 1/10,000th part of hair is the dimension or dimension of spirit soul, all those things we have, nainam chindanti shastrani and so on and so forth, so many, right? Thus far I have explained or described this knowledge to you through analytical study. They are analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. Correct? O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. What is working without fruitive results? Means I work, but I do not expect any results in return. Whatever comes on its own accord, I'll accept it. It doesn't mean that, I work and I don't take my salary. That's not the meaning here, right? So we work, and whatever the salary we get, we accept now. Okay, we may negotiate with the employer, but at the end of the day, we should continue the way it is. So here, working without fruitive results, one is not attached too much. Then what happens? He can become free from bondage of work. Correct? So that is where here it is coming. The Lord explained two kinds of work, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So when we talk about working without fruitive results, that is Naishkarma, right? So one is not expecting anything in return. And then it is said, Lord explained some more clearly, Sankhya Yoga, Okay, where is that? Okay, let us read this. The Lord explains same more clearly. Sankhya Yoga or analytical study of the nature of the spirit and matter is a subject matter for persons who are inclined to speculate and understand things experimentally with knowledge and philosophy. So there are people who say, oh, don't tell me all this philosophy, man. All these things doesn't work. You ask me, come to the temple, lift this, cook here, clean the temple, do this, do that. That's easy for me. Don't ask me to analyze something which is beyond my concept. Some people don't like too much of knowledge. Some people don't like to analyze certain things. Have you seen such people? Anyone? Oh, no one has seen?
Count me.
So there are definitely those people who don't want to get into the knowledge at all, but they are ready to do activity. Aap seva bolo Prabhu, I will do the service, but don't talk me with all this knowledge, right? So Srila Prabhupada is writing, there are some persons who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. Those people are interested in doing that. They may read, open this book, hear from that Shastra, hear from this Shastra, try to dissect, bisect, whatever they can do it, they deep dive into the books. That's another class of people, right? That is a class of people Krishna is talking. And then the other class of men in work in Krishna consciousness, as it is explained in the 61st verse of the 2nd chapter. Now let's go there. What is the 61st verse? We are studying the Bhagavad Gita, means we need to really see what exactly it means. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. What is said here? Who is called? This is a definition of a man who has a steady intelligence. And what is the symptoms of that person? His senses are perfectly under control, right? One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control. And then he fixes his consciousness upon me, means he remains Krishna consciousness. That is the second kind of people. The other class of men who work in Krishna consciousness, as stated in the 61st verse. And the Lord again explained also in the 39th verse that by working by the principles of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bonds of action. Okay. And furthermore, there is no flaw in the process. Right? So 39th verse. Let's see what is 39th verse again. We just discussed. Right? What is it saying in the 39th verse? Free yourself from the bondage of work in such knowledge. Right? So, Prabhupada is making a point very clearly that, by working in Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness only, one can be relieved from reactions. We don't want to get a negative reaction, agreed? Why should I incur? In Telugu it is said, Pamu chavali karra veraggudu. The snake has to die, but the stick should not break. Correct? So what does it mean? So you want to be more intelligent now. You should do it, but not incur any reactions. That's what Krishna conscious person is doing. He's eating, but he's not eating the sin. By offering to Krishna, it becomes prasadam. But he's eating. At the same time, he is not incurring sin. Correct? So this is something, there is no flaw in this process. Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing. Okay. So that is where in the 61st verse also we learn the same thing. So in this way, all the senses can be brought into the control of the Supreme Lord. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam. By serving the Lord, that will come into pure control of Krishna. And then here, Srila Prabhupada is making us understand both the yogas are interdependent. Okay, very nice point here he said. What is that? Religion without a philosophy is sentiment or fanaticism. And then he says philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So two kinds of people we said, correct? One is inclined in knowledge, okay, and one is inclined in activity only. One is inclined in knowledge and not activity. One is inclined in activity but no knowledge, correct? These are the two people. Now that is exactly here it is spoken. Religion without philosophy is sentiment. One is religious. Morning they get up, they do so many puja, so many demigods, so much of things they do charity, they do fasting, they remember the Lord, they remember other things, so many things they do, but they have no knowledge why they are doing, so they become more sentimentalist. You see the point? Just doing the activity without knowledge is not going to work. We should have enough knowledge to do that particular work. Otherwise, he becomes sentimentalist, and today he is there, tomorrow he will go away from Krishna consciousness, right? So religion without a philosophy is fanaticism or, sentiment. Do you all remember that story of a cat? One lady was saving a cat under the basket for the marriage of the child. This we have already discussed a couple of times. Anybody remembers this story? Very simple story.
You told something.
You remember? Can you
Yeah.
shortly tell what is it?
So she was having a cat under the basket, and so whenever there was some function, I don't remember exactly, but then her daughter started following those things, and she was blindly following she was keeping the cat under the basket whenever there is a marriage ceremony or some occasion. And somebody asked why, so she said my mother was following, and that's why I'm following it.
Exactly. Very nice. So she is working, acting, but she do not have the knowledge behind it. You see? Then fanaticism. Oh, my mother was doing, my grandmother was doing, my father was doing, somebody else was doing. You are doing ritually, ritualistically, but because there is no knowledge, it's not spiritual anymore. It is just a sentiment. Correct? That's where Srila Prabhupada is trying to help us understand that religion without philosophy is simply a sentiment or fanaticism. Now, on the other hand, oh, knowledge is very nice, so I will only learn knowledge. I will not do anything, physical thing. Then what happens? It's a mental speculation. He doesn't have a realized knowledge because he only theoretical knowledge. What is the use of becoming a doctor, and studying so much, but he never practices it. So you never know. A surgeon cannot do a surgery just because theoretically. So both are important for our life, theory and practice. Driving license is coming with two things. There is a knowledge part. There is a activity part. We all know that, correct? So simple example. Krishna is also saying the same thing. Just by knowing that I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, what is the use? Act on a spiritual platform. Now, what is the acting on spiritual platform? I'm not yet realized yet, but by acting on that spiritual platform, realization follows. The speculation goes down. Oh, probably I am not this body. What does that mean? Probably, what is probably means? Okay, it is very clear I'm not this body. Theoretically, at least, I should be clear. And then when I start practicing it, then I will realize one day, oh, okay. So philosophy, which is without a religion, is a mental speculation. That means there should be some activity. So the ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. Right? what happens to these Jnanis? At the end, they come to know, okay, the absolute truth is Krishna. Bahunam janmanamante gnanavan mam prapadyate. Gnanavan means one is a Gnani. Gnanavan mam prapadyate. They will surrender unto me. Okay. That's where, one will then take the process. Vasudevaha sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. So the pinnacle of the Gnana Yogi is to ultimately surrender to Krishna. So the ultimate goal is Krishna. Because the philosophers, that is Gnanis, were also sincerely searching after the absolute truth, come in the end to Krishna consciousness. So the whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. The entire process of Krishna consciousness begins to understand Sambandha Jnana. This is Sambandha. Who am I? What is my relationship with the Lord directly? Now, the indirect process is philosophical speculation. One who goes through the process of mental speculation, philosophical speculation, that will take some good time to learn about the Lord. Right? The other process, Buddhi Yoga, is a direct process which connects with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada gave us this very easiest method to all of us. Henceforth, he says, of these two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by a philosophical process. We don't wait until we purify our senses. We start, and then purification automatically is taken care. Of course, we put little endeavor, but it's not something which is stopping us. Today, I'm not perfectly chanting, but I'm still chanting. But as I keep practicing this chanting, one day, one will come from this Nama Aparadha to Nama Bhasa, then from there Nama Bhasa to Shuddha Nama, right? So the Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process. And by direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime. You see, so here Krishna is trying to give an answer, actually. Both karma and Sankhya are valid, they are important, and they are interdependent part of the self-realization. What Arjuna was saying is, these two are separate. But Krishna is telling they both are same. The knowledge and the activity, both are important. So what Arjuna was asking, I should work or I should renounce. Correct? Working is important. Okay. Why is he saying renounce? Durena hevaram. Krishna, he's telling keep all abominable things, right? So all durena hevaram karma, that kind of bad karma, he want to keep it away. Abominable activities keep away by devotional buddhi yoga, Dhananjaya, right? So perform buddhi yoga. So giving up means he's thinking giving up the duty. That's the defect in his thought process. That's not the point what Krishna is trying to tell here, right? So in this very shloka, okay, the right understanding is karma stage and the jnana stage are the two sides of the same yoga ladder. But for both, we need a nishtha, right? Nishtha is the word used in this very particular verse, right? It means purity of heart or level of faith. Nishtha. Correct? So in this verse, Lokesmin Dvividha, Dvivida, Dvi means two. Okay, let me share my screen again here, this shloka. I think I'm not sharing. I'll conclude in another 5 minutes. So what is it saying? Lokesmin Dvividha. Okay, Dvividha. That means one who is bewildered. What happens? Nishtha, the faith, is shaken actually because of his bewilderment. Correct? So because of that, if we take to the process of the easiest buddhi yogam, then that nishtha will increase. Correct? So whether it is a karma, we need a nishtha. Whether it is gnana, we need a nishtha. Both are dependent on this determination only. Or here it is called as Srila Prabhupada brings, nishtha means faith. Both need to have faith in the process. Okay, that is the level of faith. So now karma stage versus gnana stage. Correct? So karma stage is the platform at which work is recommended, and gnana stage where the gnana stage is a platform when one is sufficiently purified, sufficiently detached actually, right? So this very purport actually compares two different things actually. What is that? One is a Sankhya Yoga and the other one is the Buddhi Yoga. These are the two comparisons. Okay. Now, I'll conclude. So, Sankhya Yoga is an indirect path, whereas the Krishna conscious or Buddhi Yoga is a direct path. Okay, where a process of directly connecting the level of the activity or karma for the purpose of Krishna. Right? We are connecting everything for the purpose of Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. So that's a direct process. I do chanting, directly it is related to Krishna. I eat prasadam, directly related to Krishna. I do kirtan, directly related to Krishna. Okay. I go and do some service in the temple, that is for Krishna. Whatever the service, it is for Krishna. We are reading Bhagavad Gita, that is for Krishna. These are all direct services, direct path. Indirect path is philosophical speculation. Oh, what is Atma and how is this from these 8 things, what is that? 8 different elements of this material world, Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, Khammano, Buddhireva, and trying to figure it out how they are linked to the Prakriti, and Prakriti, who brought this Prakriti, and that Prakriti is the energy of Krishna. Oh, then they will understand who is Krishna. You see how long? That's a roundabout way, indirect way. And that indirect way is dependent on our personal endeavor. The more I put in effort, the more I deep dive and analytically study, then there is a chance that I might understand about something about Krishna. That is especially meant for those people who are very much passionate in research orientation, very much passionate in experimenting things, analytical study, philosophical, all these things. And that has its own limit, because that's we are doing. Correct? There are so many scientists in this world. So not everybody has become, Edison, who creates this bulb. Everybody has done something different, right? So there is limitation with everyone. But when we talk about Krishna consciousness, those activities which are directly linked to Krishna, they are dependent on Krishna's mercy. Right? Even a small boy, Dhruva Maharaj of 5-year-old boy, he could please the Supreme Lord, and Lord appeared before him in 6 months. Now, how long we are in Krishna consciousness? Years gone. Now, I don't see Krishna before me. There is a difference, right? But this Krishna consciousness is so potent, even within the 6 months, one can see Krishna. So the process of depending entirely on the Supreme Lord, and not depending on one's own abilities. Okay, Anil Prabhu, thank you so much. I know you are...
Okay, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. We have to board.
No problem. Thank you, Prabhu. Safe drive, safe trip. Hare Krishna. So, that is the dependency on Krishna's mercy. Right? Buddhi Yoga is dependent on Krishna's mercy. Sankhya Yoga is dependent on our own endeavor. You see? That's where the difference comes, right? That's all about difference. And then in the indirect way, we are not very sure that we will get the destination or not, or a success is there or not, because it's on our endeavor. We may get the success, we may not get the success. However, in the Buddhi Yoga, there is surety of success, because dependent on Krishna, and Krishna drives the whole show. Arjuna and the Pandavas were 5 people. But because Krishna was there on their side, Krishna's mercy was on there, they could win over 100 people. Even the Akshaunis, 11 Akshaunis they had, and these people had 8, I guess, right? 8? No, I don't remember. So that means still there is a whole big strength there, and here less, but still they could win, right? So there is a surety of success because strength is given by the mercy of Lord Krishna, mercy of Vaishnavas. And then thus one is relieved from the bonds of action. Anagha, right? Oh, sinless one becomes sinless. And there is no flaw. And one other important differentiation between is, initial purification is essential to start the process of Sankhya philosophy. Minimum that is required. Okay, minimum eligibility. But here the Buddhi Yoga, there is no purification per se required because Krishna consciousness in itself is the purificatory process. There is no a process and then purificatory is something different in other yoga systems. Here, this is itself the purificatory process. So premature renunciation performed before sufficient purification at the karma stage will never bring purification nor liberation. You see, prematurely one should not give up anything. That's where Krishna consciousness is the best way to understand. So he has just started this particular point. And next week we can think of, 3.4. Oh, anyways, next week I will not be, I'll be going to India. Okay, I'll talk about it. But before that, any questions, any comments so far on this very verse before we end the class?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes,
in the first line of the purport, it says Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So does that mean Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga mean the same?
Okay, you are asking, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. The first line of the first line.
Oh, first line. Okay. Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. Okay. Yes, Mataji. Prabhupada is trying to help us understand ultimately the Karma Yoga is not different from Buddhi Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is something analytical thoughts, analytical analysis. But here, Karma Yoga, which is one is performing the devotional activity, which is Buddhi Yoga, which is Bhakti Yoga also. Simultaneously, Srila Prabhupada uses these words. Though at a literal platform, they may mean differently. Actually, they cannot be same. But seeing through the perception of pure love of Godhead, he could see that there is actually no big difference.
Okay.
Okay, just like Krishna giving a mercy by giving something and by taking out something. In a proper understanding, they both seems to be same. Krishna gave mercy by taking away everything from Bali Maharaj. Right? But Krishna gave money to Sudama. Here he is giving something, and on the other hand, he is taking something.
Okay.
Actually, when we say, how is that same? Not same. Actually, they're not same. No, it is same because the mercy can flow in different ways. Benefited by Krishna. Both got the mercy. That's how exactly one should see on the higher realm with that understanding. Does that help, Rekha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I had exactly the same question which Rekha Mataji asked. So Prabhuji, I was thinking like this Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. So both when we combine together, that become Buddhi Yoga, because Sankhya, if it is an analytical study, so that's also a part of Buddhi Yoga because you are analyzing something and then you come to a conclusion. So it's kind of a beginning stage of Buddhi Yoga. But when you divert your actions toward Krishna consciousness, that is your Karma Yoga. So I think I was thinking like Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, when we combine both together, then that becomes Buddhi Yoga.
The real Buddhi is to simply surrender to the bona fide spiritual master and take Krishna conscious seriously. That is real Buddhi. Whether one may understand the analytical things or not doesn't matter. One may not understand the planetary systems. One may not understand the, what is that, 24 elements of this material creation, sarga, visarga, and so on and so forth. But the real buddhi is, okay, my mind is limited. Let me accept the pure soul here. Okay, who is the representative of Krishna? That is buddhi yoga. That is enabling one to perform the bhakti yoga. Hence, they both cannot be mixed actually. Does it help?
Both cannot be mixed. So, the Sankhya Yoga.
Okay.
Could you tell more about Sankhya Yoga? In Sankhya Yoga, you also mentioned when we were reading chapter 2, and there we read about the soul, that it is imperishable, cannot be burned, cannot be withdrawn, or cannot be cut into pieces. So is that a Sankhya Yoga or a Buddhi Yoga?
That is Sankhya Yoga. That is Sankhya Yoga. You are analyzing certain things with some of the facts and figures, Prabhu.
So that is part
that
of...
is an indirect way to reach the Supreme Lord. Now, for the people who cannot feel the presence of the Lord, Krishna is telling Rasoham Apsu. No, what is that? Yeah, Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya. I am the taste of the water. By drinking the water, by tasting the water, oh, this is Krishna. That's an analytical way to understand. Correct? However, Krishna is helping us. Don't go so far anywhere. Just remember me right away. Then that becomes Buddhi Yoga. Actually, the Buddhi Yoga is to follow Krishna consciousness. The English definition of Buddhi Yoga, Prabhupada makes us to understand, fix it in our mind that is Krishna consciousness. When it comes to Sankhya Yoga, is talking about philosophical speculation. Okay, wherever this philosophically speculation happens. Now, soul is, what is that? Not getting dissolved. Soul is unchangeable. Okay, unmutable, and so on and so forth. Words are too much confusing. Arey, kya ho raha? What is this? Sometimes it's not easy. Only for those people who are highly intellectual personalities who try to experiment things, they want to speculate things. For them, it makes more attractive. Now, there are kinds of people, right, Prabhu? Just now, as we said, some people are inclined to go deeper and deeper and deeper into philosophy. There are some people who don't like to read so much, but they are ready to do any service. Have you seen such people? There are two different people.
Right. Even one person can have this kind of different mood at certain times.
Exactly. So Krishna is still attracting the people of all kinds of background. One may be a background of Sankhya philosophy. Oh, pick it up. Take the Sankhya philosophy and Sankhya Yoga. Ultimately, by philosophical speculation, speculating, one day he becomes, what is that called? Saturated. And then he will take up Krishna consciousness. And then he thinks, why did I waste my time analyzing this? This is so simple. The village boy is doing. There were 4 Brahmanas who visited Srila Prabhupada, right? And the 4 Brahmanas, the local Brahmanas, they were so much proud in one sense. They were talking so many things. I'm a Dvivedi, I'm a Chaturvedi, I did this Vedic scriptures, I did that, and so on and so forth. And Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, what did he do? He called some little girl there. And then she asked, okay, and then he asked her, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And she said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he turned to the Brahmanas and said, as far as possible, you have been telling about the Supreme Lord, but none of you have come to a proper conclusion, telling me that who is the Supreme Lord. You did not answer me. Now here the small child is answering. Because that's an indirect way. It takes a lot of time. It is depending on our own endeavor to reach that. But here it is a mercy, whether it is coming from Guru or Krishna, Buddhi Yoga becomes much easier because it is Krishna consciousness. Does it help or still confusing?
Yes, Prabhuji. I think, yeah. So this analytical sometimes requires when if you want to convince and if that person is not convinced, so it helps basically to help him to go in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise,
Yes.
the person who takes to Krishna consciousness, that is, and once he conclude that Supreme Personality Godhead is Krishna. So that's become a Buddhi Yoga.
Yes, Prabhu. One who is already convinced, he'll take a Buddhi Yoga. Otherwise, he'll try to speculate. He'll ask lots of questions. But that's okay. It's not said that, oh, you should not follow Sankhya Yoga at all. No, that's not what the point here is stating. Okay,
Right.
when, as you have correctly said, when we are preaching, there are people who are analytical people and they ask so many questions. And to answer them, probably I have to become a little bit more deeper and try to understand things. However, whether I understand and convince him or not is not what Krishna is looking upon. How enthusiastically one is performing devotion and ready to glorify the Supreme Lord. That's all it needs. For Krishna, that's all it needs. So Prabhupada said for preaching, you don't need big knowledge. All you need is your enthusiasm with pure love. That's it. And things will be taken care by Krishna. Sometimes we are not convinced, but somebody is, attractive. Why am I attractive? We don't know. Prabhupada was very attractive to those many people because of the purity. Purity is the power, not the knowledge. Knowledge is not the power. Srila Prabhupada said purity is the power. Right? But knowledge is the, books are basis. Prabhupada said, definitely. Books are basis. We should have some basic foundation. That is this knowledge. We should have. But those people who are analytical, they go deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, Sanskrit language, every word, why is this Krishna utilized it this way? Right? Lokesmin vividha. Now, sandhi, whatever he is. Lokaha, asmin, lokaha plus asmin plus dvividha, dvi plus vidha, what is this? This is something, too much of bifurcating. That is analytically he is going somewhere. That's not what Prabhupada wanted us to get deviated to. Okay, all he wanted is come directly to Krishna consciousness. We have no more time here left out. We don't know when we are going to die. We don't know how much of life is the rest of the things. Pick up Krishna consciousness, and this is a direct process. Please read Bhagavad Gita as many times as you can until you get convinced. You ask questions, okay, and then finally you will be convinced that Bhakti Yoga is the easiest and the best thing. Now, for Mother Yashoda, there is no question of, she is analyzing certain things and all. No, nothing. Simply, not only Mother Yashoda, all the Brajavasis, not one personality. One there, they accept Krishna as their beloved person. That's it. Even they don't know he is Krishna, is a supreme personality of God. Doesn't matter. Krishna doesn't look our level of knowledge, our level of convincing everybody, our level of intellectual. No. The Shuddha Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, that is what he is looking for. And if we have it, he is attracted, and then we go back home back to garden. Kel khatam ho gaya na, itna easy hai. Why do you want to get into so many details, get confused, and walk away from Krishna? And that leads to sometimes. And we need to know how we should bring it back. That's where bona fide spiritual master is helping us to come back to the original point here. And it's not wrong. It is there, part of the whole system. We are going to learn that Sankhya Yoga. And in the Bhagavatam, we have much more details. And that is meant to connect. And that is actually meant, oh my God, Krishna, you have created so complicated things, which is inconceivable to our little brains. But you have done that to cater some other source of people who are complicated enough in your own creation. He knows his own creation, right? He knows there are people straightforward, there are complicated, there are good, there are bad, and he has everything for everyone. Then we will glorify the Supreme Lord wholeheartedly. Krishna, you're so wonderful. You can make things complex to complex. Okay. Simplest also the complex. You can make the complex also to be simplest. Then we will glorify. Then when that glorification comes, we start loving Krishna. That becomes, from Sankhya to Prema Bhakti. Okay?
Correct, Pujya. So, Prabhuji, these Brijvasis are already in Bhakti Yoga or Prema Bhakti?
Yes, they are in the Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga's ultimate goal is what? Prema. Krishna Prema Pradayate, right? Krishna Prema is the ultimate goal of Bhakti Yoga. So there is no difference as such. There are gradations. They are on the topmost.
They always
Right?
love. They remember Krishna, never forget Krishna.
Yeah, as we are reading in the Nectar of Devotion, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, Raganugha sadhana bhakti, and then Bhava bhakti, and then Prema bhakti, right? Everything is a bhakti,
Right.
but there are different levels. That's all coming under Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness. Does it help?
Yes, Guru. Thank you.
This is an important shloka, and we need to understand clearly so that we will take it forward clearly. Okay, anything else? Anybody? Okay, if no questions, then I am, as you all know, or many of you will know, definitely, we are traveling to India for 6 weeks. Okay, so this class is not feasible from India, definitely, because 5 o'clock is something 3:30 a.m. Okay, so I don't think we can continue our classes. However, my Telugu Bhagavad Gita class might continue based on the situation. I will be in touch with the WhatsApp group. And I wanted to give a kind of homework or assignment to you people. There are so many Vaishnavas, sadhus in our parampara. Okay, 6 Goswamis, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, lineage of all gurus. Okay, so each one of you pick up one personality, write down a thesis, and you need to present when I am back. Each one of you differently. Wife and husband cannot pick up the same person. For example, husband picks Rupa Goswami, wife can pick up, Narottam Das Thakur or any other Goswami. Okay, so try to collect that. So that is one of the options. Okay, or as we have done 2 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, if you want, I can bring some more questions and essay writing questions, which you can deliberate upon, prepare it, and do some presentation. For example, the yoga ladder. What is the yoga ladder? It's a question. Okay, you may deep dive on it, try to understand what it is, and then get back to the things. Or else, try to explain about the soul. What is Krishna telling? Or Sita Prajna, what is that? I'll also come back with those questions. Okay, which one do you think you would like to, you can pick it up. You are free to pick up whatever from that list, but make sure that you are doing that exercise and you are going to present. Okay, so hopefully after coming back, we may have in-person classes, and I appreciate if you all can join there, and whoever can, that's good. And you can present for 15-20 minutes. How does that sounds like to you all? You have 6 weeks for the preparation. It's not an exam, not more than that. If you want, but still we'll keep it. What do you all think?
Prabhuji, like for us, like we will be preparing for the next of instruction
and devotion exam in May.
I know about you. Yes, you are anyways preparing for something, so you cannot prepare for this thing. Okay.
We will try. No, Prabhuji, we will try. We will do.
Yeah, with your enthusiasm, if you can do, that's wonderful. But if it is too much overburdening, I don't want to put you in trouble. Okay, you will get an exemption, Prabhuji and Mataji. But you're excited. Hey, let's do that one also. I'm able to, because 6 weeks of gap is there. Okay, and I know about your side. You are free to do whatever you want to do.
Thank you.
But rest of the people some of them have dropped from Bhakti Shastri. Some of them have not taken Bhakti Shastri. I don't know whether they are having any other thing, So you can spend around 2 hours every week, same time, 3 to 5, 5 to 7 p.m. Let's log the same time and then try to read, try to figure it out. I'm okay to give some list of questions to you all. And you can elaborate on that personality or whatever the subject.
For 6 Goswamis, where we can find the books?
Okay, so Chaitanya Charitamrita gives, and we have, you can search in the internet also, but go to the ISKCON Desire Tree. Okay, so try to see again when you are researching websites, do not get into the websites where it start blaspheming the people. There are some bogus websites also. Please be aware of it. Okay, or you can let me know, Prabhu, this is a link I got. Can I go ahead and read it? I'll let you know that. There is a book with our ISKCON Saints of Vraja. Okay, but I don't know whether we have an online version. There are certain books which are actually what we call having these details. But otherwise, I can say, or a subjected to our 2 chapters I can give you. If you think that is too much, Prabhu, just give us some comparisons. Just like today, I have told comparison between Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi Yoga. You can prepare a chart and tell about it. Okay, what are the 5 things, 5 reasons of Arjuna not planning to fight? What is the confusion with Arjuna? I can give a couple of questions from the chapter 1 and 2. If that is much easier than searching about a Vaishnava.
Yes, Prabhuji. So that we can get some idea what ఏం రాయాలి అనేది ఐడియా వస్తుంది, లేకపోతే కన్ఫ్యూజన్
Yeah.
For me it's I feel better to do that.
Sure, Mataji.
Thank you.
So I have recorded this class on YouTube today. After this class, I will share it. People who have not attended, they cannot give an excuse. Okay, Prabhu, I did not join. I don't know what was that. Okay, so with all pakka thoughts, I am putting here. Not giving any. You may be thinking what kind of person he is. Okay, putting too much. कभी तो करना चाहिए यार, ragging करना चाहिए ना. Anyways, I'm just joking. Okay, please pick it up. It will be good time for of course, when wife and husband, when I said they should not take the same subject matter, it doesn't mean that both should not discuss on 2 subject matters. They can definitely, right? Definitely help each other, try to understand. But the presentation time, only that person should. Prabhu cannot say, oh, my wife only explained, she will only give presentation. No, that doesn't work. Both of people have to give the presentation, so that you will have some time. You can do rehearsal if you want. Or is there anything else you would like to do in this 6 weeks? Okay, let me put this way also. I have those 2 options anyway. Any thoughts? Nobody want to give any idea also, even if they have. Prabhu ko idea देंगे तो problem हो जाएगा. Okay? Better be silent. Okay, no worries. I appreciate it. Anything else before we end the call?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. In person attend లేకపోతే Zoom continue చేస్తారా Prabhu?
Yes, I would do definitely continue the Zoom also going forward after my return.
Thank you.
And again, it all depends, how Corona will turn into, what are the things. But I feel in person is always best. In Zoom could be still a good idea when I can see everybody, and that's not the ideal thing, right? I cannot force everybody, oh, switch on the video. I feel live, when I see somebody. Now I'm seeing Balakrishna Prabhu nicely. I feel somebody is hearing, otherwise I'm talking to a monitor. If you all people sit on this side, then you will realize, I guess, talking to whom, there is nobody before me. There you go. I got now. This is, Vaishnava, right? We should see each other. Yes. Situation where we cannot switch on the video. Maybe one is driving, maybe one is eating. I don't know when he's sleeping. I don't know. Then they cannot. When I say there is one more person, it makes feel live. Oh, wow, we can see each and everybody. And the same thing I feel in all other classes also. In the Bhakti Shastri also, I've been asking, nobody was doing it. And a Sunday class also, I was asking, nobody was doing it. And what else I can do? Okay, this is what Krishna wants. And I'll be inspired to speak. And when I see the faces, I'll see the gesture. Especially when somebody is asking the question, by seeing the face, half of the answer we will know what should we answer that person. There are a lot of things, when we attend in person with the body language, we will know, okay, how is this? How can we handle a situation? But it's all in person, nothing is in black screen. Oh my God, okay. Karna padega to karenge. That's a different thing. But always remember, that brings, that's where I was eager. When will I do? Anil Prabhu was always asking that another Anil Prabhu, when are you going to start in person? And it's obvious, right? It is very, very interesting to have an in-person, but otherwise Zoom is alternative, but I would appreciate, and that shows. I'll tell you an example. Back in India, even today, we have so many classes, Tattva Sandarbha class, Chaitanya Charitamrita class, we have Bhagavatam, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta. There is a mandatory rule that everybody should switch on the video. The moment we don't, then somebody is assigned. For example, I may assign Balakrishna Prabhu. Prabhu, check with other people while I'm giving a class. Go and check with them. Please switch on the video. Please switch on the video. Otherwise, drop. I don't want on such people. They're very strict. My God, how is that possible? It's sometimes very hard, but they have a whole team, and then they have their own rasa. Of course, everybody has a different situation, circumstances, but it still gives a lot. That shows seriousness on the other side. I was hearing, on the other hand, I heard that it's a disrespecting somebody who is switching on the video and you don't switch on the video. Hey, I don't want to show my face. Shutting the door. If somebody enters the house, shutting the door. Oh my God, I was hearing so much strong statements. That's how they will speak and then make, but then we are not here to do so much. So all we like is, let people take Krishna conscious very happily. And, if you are sensitive, if you want to open, I'm happy for that. And if somebody is having some situations I can't change, that's okay. So any other thoughts for what we should do in the holidays? You got 6 weeks of holidays. People may say, Prabhu, you will never leave us. That's good that you left us for 6 weeks. Thanks. Okay, I guess there is nothing much we should discuss.